How's it going, everyone? This is Fire Ghast. This is the 100,000 subscriber Q&A special from quite a bit ago. I just didn't really have time to answer all these questions, and I wanted to make sure I had some other videos out before a community video like this was out, just because I wanted to make sure my priorities were still towards scripted videos and stuff. But there's a lot of questions to go through, and I'm going to be doing this only audio, so that what you're seeing on screen is just gameplay, just B-roll of games and stuff like that. So with that all being said, I hope you enjoy the Q&A, and let's get started. NCS07 asks, favorite Fire Emblem game, and favorite game series other than Fire Emblem? I always have a lot of trouble answering the favorite Fire Emblem game question, because I like a bunch of different Fire Emblem games for different reasons, but I usually just default to the Fire Emblem game that is the most sentimentally valuable to me. And for that, I would probably say Gaiden, just because of how much I enjoyed Gaiden when I played it, and all the fun memories that I had with my friends when we when Skype was still a thing and we Skyped together. And it was just a different time in my life, and all like the Gaiden bro stuff was just really funny, and I think it just means more to me that is my favorite game. I wouldn't really go back to playing Gaiden ever. It just has a special place in my heart. And for my favorite game series other than Fire Emblem, I would probably say Smash Bros. Or Resident Evil or Shining Force or Final Fantasy Tactics games in general. PF asks, what happened to the FE64 video that you had mentioned on working on? Heard about it for a while and you mentioned a lot of work went into it. It's out. You guys should watch it. It's one of my best videos I ever made. Noah Avshalom. Which Fire Emblem characters would you trust most to be your personal bodyguard? Gifka. Because he is one, and he's huge and very strong in Path of Radiance. The strongest character in the game. Sword Master asks, favorite route story-wise of Three Hopes and why? It might be a toss-up between Golden Wildfire, non-Byleth, and Scarlet Blaze with Byleth, because Azure Gleam is really solid, but has a lot of really distracting story issues that I just can't really get over, and I really don't like. Dimitri's story is really, really good, but it's the stuff that's happening around Dimitri's main mission is really annoying. I might make a video about that in the future, but I don't know. Are you looking forward to FE Engage? Yeah, of course. Lonely Deku asks, favorite route in Three Houses? Probably Azure Moon. Rubbernips _ asks, favorite and least favorite game and or character? I'll just go with games. Again, I'll go with Gaiden, and my least favorite would probably be, this is such a lame answer, but Revelation maybe? It's not really the hottest take of all time, but yeah. Delta 10 asks, who are your top 5 favorite characters in all of Fire Emblem? Why so? Jeez, I don't know how many times I've thought about this question. I would say Gerik, Nezala, Hector, Eyvel, maybe Dimitri or Edelgard? I don't know. Those are in no particular order except for Gerik, who's number 1 for sure. Joe the Epic Guy asks, what class or weapons would you like to see added in FE one day? Guns. I mean those muskets or whatever. I don't know. They kind of have every weapon type you could really think of. Maybe, I think if they introduced like terrain changing spells or just terrain as a mechanic in more detail, like in Tactics, I think it'd be a really good idea, because you could have characters that are really good at changing the terrain of a map, and I think that would be a good call to do. Speak French please, asks Aina Mathis. I need to find something to say in French. Okay, this is the Fire Emblem Engage product page on Nintendo in French. So I'll try to speak this as fluently as I can. Au cours d'une guerre contre le dragon déchu, 4 royaumes ont uni leurs forces avec des héros d'autres mondes pour sceller ce mal. 1000 ans après, le dragon déchu commence à reprendre ses forces et est sur le point de se réveiller. En incarnant le dragon divin, vous aurez recours à des stratégies riches et à une personnalisation robuste afin de prendre en charge votre destin, qui consiste à rassembler les anneaux d'emblème dispersés à travers le monde et à rétablir la paix sur le continent d'Helios. There you go, that's your French. Alan Chavez asks, why are you so passionate about Fire Emblem instead of another franchise? And what class would you be if you were a unit? Probably a merchant or a hero. Probably one of those two. What got me so passionate? I just, I first played FE7 after playing Smash Bros. And then the colors were really pretty and the characters were really very cutely designed and stuff and really colorful and fun. And I just kept playing the game over and over again. And then I started ROM hacking the game and started making my own stories and characters, which is kind of like a fanfic fantasy thing that every person with a crazy imagination wants to try. And then it became the ROM hack, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Then YouTube videos and all that. Megaman029 asks, out of every scripted video you've made, what would you say is your top 5? The Kaga video, even though there were actually some inaccuracies and errors with the Kaga video, the FE64 one, I would still say just from a production and things mostly being accurate standpoint that it's my best. The Edelgard support science is a good one, which I think the biggest problem with that video was that I headcanoned, I didn't really think that I was doing it at the time, and I learned my lesson ever since then, but I did headcanon a lot of Tragedy of Dusker stuff. There's literally 3 minutes of that video that I wish I could take back, because I pretty much headcanoned some stuff about the Tragedy of Dusker and fan theoried it, and it was a big mistake, and it was probably the worst part about that video. And it's something that I still think about to this day, even though I remade that video from not from the ground up, but I significantly revamped it for that second version. But even then, it was still hung up by a couple liberties that I should not have taken, that I wasn't even thinking that it would reflect poorly. Ever since then, I've been really trying to be super, super sharp on if I have to headcanon or guess at or speculate at something, I'm very specific about it, or I'm very forward with it. But besides that one mark in that video, it was a really good one. The Zehark support science I think was really good. The Hector support science was pretty overly edited, but also I think a really, really solid one because the voice acting for both of those. And maybe a character video that I did. I'm really proud of my videos, and I'm really happy how a lot of them get done. The Sigurd Fire Emblem Heroes comparison video, which doesn't really have a lot of views, and I think it's kind of one of my more overlooked videos, is also incredibly good. I think it's one of my better ones of the year. I don't know. I feel kind of, they asked the question, but I do feel a little cocky when I answer questions like that. But probably those are among my most memorable favorite ones, or the most badass characters where I talked about Eyvel for a while and it was really fun. Or there's just a bunch that I'm really happy about. DLJB, what do you think makes a good Fire Emblem? Characters and story or gameplay? All 3. Those are the big 3. If you have good stories and good supports and characters and a competent story, competent, not good, competent, and gameplay, those are the big 3. If you have all 3 of those, then you're probably on the right track. Do you think Ike is gay or no? I think it's totally fine to think he is. It's unconfirmed whether he is or isn't. I've seen a lot of videos, Captain Astronaut made a video about Ike maybe being gay, and it was pretty solid. It does rely, of course, on speculation and interpreting endings and stuff, but also, you can't really argue against it. You're arguing about the possibility that he is, not that he is definitely, and if you had to make a case for any character that could possibly be gay, it could be Ike. It legit could be. I don't think there's anything you can really say to refute points, because at the end of the day, these people aren't arguing that he definitively is. It's just that it's open enough to interpretation that it could be a legit possibility based on the conventions that Fire Emblem characters usually have when it comes to paired endings, things like that. So I think if they consciously left it ambiguous, then obviously that speaks to the possibility that he very well could be. So yeah. Psycho Penguin asks, if you had to show a newer viewer or someone outside of your YouTube sphere just 3 of your videos to introduce them to both you and your channel, what would you pick and why? Congrats again on 100k subs, and I hope everything with the hurricane ended up alright for you and your folks. Top 3 would probably be the FE64 video, maybe the Gerik support science, or the Zehark support science, because those 2 are so good. And then maybe flavor kind of top list of characters, maybe the most badass characters, or the most expensive characters, or the funniest recruitment, or even a trailer breakdown, maybe an engaged trailer breakdown, maybe a support science, and then maybe another kind of character or scripted video of the like, because those kind of cover most of what I do these days. Alex Koch asks, which Fire Emblem do you want the Echoes remake treatment? I want to see Hector in HD or Path of Radiance in HD, to be honest. I don't care if any game gets remade at this point because like more Fire Emblem is awesome, but I think Path of Radiance really needs one because that game did not sell very well despite the quality. And on modern hardware with the modern conventions of Fire Emblem, I think Path of Radiance would skyrocket in, I guess, popularity and appreciation for what it did have, which was stellar writing, good gameplay. I think the gameplay would be a lot better if it was modernized. I think Path of Radiance could strongly benefit from something like that. Killing Potato asks, what are your 3 hopes for future FE series? GG on 100K. Thank you, Killer Potato. Killing Potato. I hope that they make a remake, a genuinely good remake with a very classy art style with Hidari. That'd be awesome. A new mainline game. So we have that in Engage, but obviously Engage, I think if it's true that it was meant to be a 30th anniversary game, contextually that's where it kind of fits. But I hope the next game after that, FE18, is something super fresh and super cool with a bunch of OCs. And I hope just the new game has a competent story, well written and has a good start, good kind of path to being from beginning to end and doesn't confuse itself too much or kneecap itself with plot holes that don't get answered or weird behavior from characters. And also just, I hope more people play the game. I hope it becomes a really, really popular IP, even more than it already is. Marina Bailey asks, what would your perfect Fire Emblem game be? Basically, if you were given the reins to do whatever you wanted with a new title in the series, the final product would be my ROM hack, but in completed form. It would be Bloodlines, but it would be finished. And it wouldn't be a Fire Emblem game because that game would never be approved. But in this fantasy scenario, it would be Bloodlines. I would just make my ROM hack into an actual Fire Emblem game. T-Bar asks, congrats on 100K. 2-part question. If you could delete any Fire Emblem character from existence, who would it be and why? And if you could fuse 2 or more Fire Emblem characters together to create the perfect character, who would it be and why? For number 1, this is gonna sound like really lame, but Perry, I'm on record saying that she's awful, and I still don't like her at all. Fuse 2 or more characters together? This is actually something that I've been thinking about recently. My default answer is usually Gerik and Eyvel because they're my 2 favorite characters, but I think I would fuse Ike with Zehark or something because they were supposed to have supports, but those supports never were written. I find Ike lacking in the charisma department, and I understand canonically there's a reason why he's so quiet, I guess standoffish for lack of a better term. There's parts of Ike's character that I never really enjoyed that much. The fact that he's kind of just quiet and he doesn't really talk that much, or when he does talk, it's very to the point, which I can appreciate, but I did feel he never really had charisma that really kind of hooked me as a player, and I like characters like that. I think there's a place for Ike as a very significant character in Path of Radiance, but he never really just struck me as a really enjoyable lord to read, even though he has a lot of really impressive moments where he does have these emotional outbursts, or where he does have these quippy one-liners, and where he does develop in his own way from this guy who doesn't really know what he's doing as a mercenary into the general of Crimea's army or whatever. So I think he has the makings of a really great character. His personality just doesn't really vibe with me that much. But if he had Zehark's personality and like understanding of the world, at least not to the exact same understanding, because Zehark is kind of worldly, where Ike is meant to be, he doesn't really know what the fuck's going on because he was sheltered his whole life by Grail. I think if he had more of an understanding of what Lagoos were, had more of that charming Zehark personality, I think it would round him out really, really well. Just a fantastically written character, even more, because Zehark is one of my favorite Tellius characters. They would not only work really well as support partners, but just if they combine the best parts about each other into one character, I think that'd be a really, really solid character. Soulmate asks, which of the following misspelling of Gerik is worse, Gerik or Garik? And why would people do that? Probably Garik, because there's no way you should confuse Gerik with R, A-R-R, that's kind of dumb. Trent M asks, any favorite characters from the past you specifically want to appear in Engage? Hector. Just please, Hector. Please put Hector in the fucking game. Warpath asks, what's your favorite chapter in Bloodlines? Probably 2-8, which is mega spoilery, but it's just like a chapter that I've been working on for so long, and I'm just really happy it's out and the way it is, and I'm really happy that a lot of people like it. Warp, not Warpath. Warp asks, can I have a high five? Yeah, you can. I'm high-fiving into the microphone. Next question is from Daz. Favorite Fire Emblem artist? This includes heroes and Cypher. And is there any artist you like who has only drawn for Faye or Effie Cypher who you would want in the next? I don't know the names of the artists, and at this point Faye has like so many artists. I do always like the art by the guy who does Milla, Jagan, Ogma. I forget what his name is, but he was a really cool artist. I think it'd be like a crazy pipe dream if he was another like remake artist, which would be actually crazy. I think he would only be, if he was ever to come back for a whole game, I would wager it would be Thracia, because I don't think his art style would really fit with anything past FE5, but he's one of my favorites for sure. Yali20 asks, I have 2 questions and will be glad if you answer these 2 for me. What is Corrin's canon path? Birthright, Revelation, or Conquest? I don't know. I don't know. Are none of them canon? I'll just say Revelation because it probably is supposed to be the golden root, I guess. Well, it is the golden root that you would want to think is actually like the canon one. And number 2, who is the most powerful lord in Fire Emblem according to the lore? According to the lore, I would probably think Ike with the power of Yune, because that has like, he has like god slaying power at that point. I don't think any other lord really comes close to that with Ike with that power. Maybe Enlightened Byleth because he can go back in time, or they can go back in time, and they should be able to win every fight ever. Jay Nasty, favorite video / memory of your channel? Probably Echoes' announcement was probably the most memorable. I know a lot gamer asks, who are your top 3 Awakening characters? Oh geez, Rickon for the memes. I've always liked Libra, Lucina's, maybe I'll just say those 3. I'm really unfamiliar with Awakening playables at this point. It's Ari asks, what other content aside from Fire Emblem have you wanted to stream on your channel? Happy 100k, yes, thank you. Genshin, other tactics games, Smash Ultimate. I wanted to stream online Ultimate for a while, but I feel like I'm not good enough for that to be entertaining. I think maybe at this point it might be good enough. Keldio05 asks, what's your favorite wild animal? Bears. Even though they're crazy, like murderous animals, they're just so cool. Like they're so menacing and terrifying, but like also very cute, but also like menacing and terrifying. They just got the whole package, and they're like the strongest like land mammal ever, I think, or something. I don't know, maybe. Alex Terrier asks, what does Fire Ghast come from? So my name originally was Gas Station, and then I changed it to Ghast, and then I kept going between Gas Station and Ghast, but I didn't really like it because I wanted to associate something with Fire Emblem more. It was probably mostly in my head, but I don't really play Minecraft. Ghast was really associated with Minecraft a lot, because originally it was just a pun. Originally it was just like, let's go to the gas station. I thought it was just like a funny play on with words. And then 3 Houses came out, and Fargus has become my favorite area in Fire Emblem, like my favorite territory / country and whatever. So I just combined both into Fire Ghast. TMS Walrus Fan 02 asks, do you think that if we were to get an FE4 remake that they keep it the exact same as the original, or change it so it's more tame than the original? I think they would keep it the same. There's a lot of dark shit that happens in Fire Emblem, even modern games like Sacred Stones and Tellius sometimes, 3 Houses for sure. I don't think they need to really dial it back for FE4. There's a lot of fucked up shit in that game, but Fire Emblem, I feel like, isn't afraid to dip their toes in that, especially with 3 Houses. And 3 Houses is rated T, so just make it rated T again. That's it, you're fine. I don't think they should change anything. Astral Traveler asks, I've been watching your channel since 2016, and here you are. You have achieved an excellent milestone. Happy 100k. Question, what are your personal top 5 favorite FE games of all time? For favorite, I'm just gonna go by sentimental value. I would do FE2, FE7, FE8, I guess, Path of Radiance, and then maybe 3 Houses. FE2 and FE7 are the ones that are ordered. The rest of them I don't. They came off the top of my head. I don't like answering these questions because I always change my mind. Leonie asks, who is your favorite Fire Emblem character or game of all time, and why? My favorite character of all time is Gerik because he is a super Chad. He is awesome, and I wrote a video on him, so you can check it out. Asks, I stumbled upon your channel thanks to your randomized game series, and thank you for reigniting my interest in Fire Emblem. I'm even learning to emulate games. As for my question, if there were to be a proper crossover between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem, so more akin to the main SMT games, what aspect of each series would you want to have? I've never played a Shin Megami Tensei game, so I cannot answer this question. I don't know. Alistair asks, which FE couple is your favorite? Maybe Nazala and Leanne. That might be up there. Wayfaring Spartan. Do you have a go-to Fire Emblem game for fun? If not, what's a game you play to relax? Congrats on the 100K. Sometimes I might play Genshin to relax and just like explore stuff, because I explore, fight some monsters, get some primos, and that's pretty much it. Loon321 asks, you can only pick one. Sonia, Cornelia, Bronya, Nui Baba. Nui Baba, easy. Come on, she's awesome. Nui Baba is the craziest like 180 ever. I actually might want to make a video on her, because that's her. The change between Nui Baba and FE2 and Echoes is just so funny. Thrilling Tremors asks, why did you choose Fire Emblem as the main draw to your channel? I like the series the most. I started ROM hacking and then things snowballed from there, so it was always Fire Emblem. Eepster asks, are you ever embarrassed to be a Fire Emblem fan? Maybe back in the day, but nowadays, nah. Sam Von Esch asks, I just want to ask, genuinely, how are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. I've had some bad news come my way recently, but I've been trying to bounce back from it, so I've been honestly pretty well. Chico Chu asks, congrats again for the Hundi. I've been watching for many, many years, so I'm very happy you're getting the attention you deserve. Oh, thanks. Your videos are my favorite Fire Emblem content out there, so I'm happy for you. Oh, thanks. Anyways, here's my question. I want to know, what do you think of Three Hopes' story? Do you think they could have done better on certain parts? For me, the endings are what made me the most disappointed, so I'm curious to see what you think. You could check out my Byleth criticism video on the topic. I think I answered this earlier. I think they're just really inconsistent in their quality, and I feel like they tried to address plot points that they didn't in the original game, but they didn't follow through 100% on some aspects of it. The writing team has this really annoying issue of just introducing new ideas and then never following up on them ever. And this is the second game they've done that, and it's just really disappointing. So the story quality towards the mid to late game just gets really inconsistent and borderline fucking horrible. And yeah, it's just a mixed bag. It really is. I don't know. Orchestra Fan asks, first off, congrats on the milestone / achievement, thank you. Now for the question. Would you ever want to see a Fire Emblem game set in a futuristic / sci-fi / dramatically different setting than the usual medieval fantasy world? Like Fire Emblem with a Phantasy Star Online type setting / aesthetic. I don't know if I would like the super future high-tech stuff, maybe, but I would like at least a progression in technology. If you had a world set in Nivelier? I don't know. The Nivelier? I don't know. It's the mecha realm in Fire Emblem Heroes. Nidevelier? No, maybe that's a person or a god. You know what I mean? The place where Regan is from. I think that'd be a cool setting, because you can have maybe just cooler aesthetics and more interesting mechanics or weapon types and stuff. Jacob T-Gen asks, favorite weapon in Fire Emblem? The Daikon. From Fates, the Daikon, radish. And if you know why, you know why. Jimmy Effie asks, Duessel or Mycen? Duessel all the way. James Whittick, if you had to get a Fire Emblem based tattoo, what would you get? Just play Gaiden Bro across your back. Maybe the crest of Regan and the crest of Flames, the Hreskfeld crest, the Blathed crest, maybe something with that. Maybe Armads or something. It would definitely not be a character. It would be like a symbol or something that would be really cool looking to have on a tattoo in some way. Ghost Channel says, wave emoji and congrats on the Hundi. Thank you. Bad Cactus, have you ever run into annoying engine limitations while making Bloodlines over the years? Oh my god. There's been a lot of annoying problems. Anything that's custom has been really annoying sometimes. The strength magic split took a really long time to do, and I didn't even do it. It was Tequila, because it was one of the first strength magic splits in FE7. There's just a lot of custom stuff that was really annoying for a long time. One really annoying one was the save memory bug, because we restructured how save data was stored. I think it was to save space, but it was also for something else. And every time we discovered there was a bug wrong with the save data, you would have to restructure how the save data got stored. But every time you did that, you had to delete your save because your save wouldn't be compatible anymore. So that was a tough one. And that was a tall task for Tequila to do, and he did it, but it was a struggle for sure. Hans Gretel asks, I could ask about your underwear again, but I'll just go ahead and ask if you see the possibility of a Claude support science. There's like 99% chance it's not going to happen. Support sciences are so time consuming and exhausting. As much as if I had infinite time, then maybe I'd do a Claude support science, but I just don't really feel that interested in really doing like a character focused video, like a singular character focused video for like 45 minutes to an hour. I just got done the FE64 video and that like took a lot out of me. I haven't been chilling ever since that happened. Kihara Amber asks, if you could spend an entire day with a video game character, who would it be and why? Eyvel, because she's the one. It would be Eyvel. That's my answer that I'll go to. It would be Eyvel. Yeah, it'd be her. For pretty obvious reasons. JB asks, have you ever wanted to do a channel retrospective, where you go over how you feel your content editing, etc. has evolved over time? I thought about it, but I don't know. I feel like those kinds of videos are really self-indulgent. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think it'd be worth like an entire dedicated video. I'm just kind of happy with, you know, people seeing the progression already. I don't really feel like dedicating an entire video about that. Quinn McDonald says, way to go, Ghast. I absolutely love this channel and the content here has been really top-notch. Thanks. Jack O'Donohue, my boyfriend told me he saw you in a Twitch chat and said hi to me, so hi back. My question is, what is your most controversial ship opinion? I'll be honest, I have no idea. I do not know. I've been thinking about this for like the last 5 minutes and I don't really even think I've ever gone over like ship opinions that hardcore. I have no idea, actually. I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that I would find controversial, that people might find controversial, that like, I don't know. Mika the Emery 40 asks, what's your opinion on Leonie as a character, as a unit in battle, personality, or anything? I've always liked Leonie's personality. As a unit in battle, she's really, really good. In Golden Deer, she's insanely good. Yeah, I think she's fine. I like her as a unit a lot, and her post-time skip design is one of the best in my opinion. Claude Von Regan asks, do you think we will get another Fire Emblem game besides Engage in the Switch? I don't think so, honestly. I think if we're talking about another mainline game, I think Fire Emblem 18 would probably be on a newer console, to be honest. He asks, what is your favorite thing about your least favorite game? My least favorite game is probably Rev. And my favorite thing about that would probably be the music, the soundtrack maybe? Yeah, we'll say the soundtrack. Gerik asks, congrats on 100K. If you could direct the next Fire Emblem, what decisions would you make? Where would your story go? And what would you keep from the series and what would you cut? I'm going to say, like I usually say, everything that my ROM hack does would be the next Fire Emblem game. Everything my ROM hack does is sick. My ROM hack is the best ROM hack ever. And yeah, I would say my Fire Emblem project would be the ROM hack. So there would be Shining Force inspired characters, there would be Shining Force inspired chapters, and the story would be pretty crazy. That's all I could say. Comment down below if you've played Bloodlines before. But what would I keep from the series and what would I cut? I wish I could have capturable units. I wish that whole mechanic, like Fate's capturing mechanic is something I rave about all the time and I really like it. Like Thracia capturing was pretty sick, but like Fate's capturing was also really cool. That was probably one of the coolest things about Fate's. Moose7 asks, hey Ghast, how's life going? Life's going pretty good. Swidge, congrats on the Hundy, but I have to ask, what was your absolute favorite video series to create? Be it a let's play of something, analysis, support science, etc. I immediately want to say support science because it's kind of like the cornerstone of my channel, but I haven't made one in like 9 months. If it was scripted, I would probably just say support science. But if it was let's plays, it would be randomizers. Like my first randomized series with Fates, Conquest, was so funny and memorable. And the Three Houses randomizers were like so fun. That was when the channel still had Let's Plays on it. One Day asks, for Fire Emblem Engage, what kind of skills do you want to see confirmed for the Lords? Like Celica, for example, has something similar to the witches from her home game as War. Oh boy, I have no idea. If Byleth had a funny, like, you can turn back the clock as their ring mechanic, that'd be funny. I don't even know. That's a tough question. I'm not really sure. I'd have to think on that for a while. Mr. Return What was your favorite support science video you have made and why? Also, congrats. 1 to Hundy. The Z-Hark one? I think maybe the Z-Hark one or the Gerik one. I don't know, they just mean a lot. Or maybe the Lin one. The Lin one also means a lot to me. Just because like I love the characters so much and I really feel like I did a good job kind of talking about them and stuff. I don't know, I really liked my work on those scripts. L Surge, was everything okay after the hurricane? Did anything get damaged? So pretty much like it's been quite a long time since then now. Well, there's the crazy thing about the hurricane is that there are many rural locations in Nova Scotia, and there are still areas damaged with power lines or trees being down from the hurricane, even like weeks and weeks and weeks after. There's several power line companies and Bell Alliant and like internet companies. Anyone who does any lineman work, they're from Ontario or Quebec or PEI. They came down here to try to help fix it, and they're still here. So, I mean, for us, everything's fine. Nothing really got destroyed, thankfully. The apartment almost got leveled by a tree, but it didn't, so everything's good. Defender of the North, how are you so attractive? I moisturize. When is support science coming back? I don't know. What if they made a Warriors game made solely on Eyvel's adventures leading up to 776 with her functioning as the main lord? That is the biggest pipe dream thing I've ever heard in my life, but it would be sick. Lechuga, what would your personal skill be, or what would your PRF weapon be? Well, my PRF weapon would be Zeke or the Daikon blade for Daikon Destiny. My personal skill, something like a funky luck-based skill or something. Some kind of arms thrift or like spendthrift or some shit. You spend money to get really strong. That kind of thing would be pretty funny, I don't know. Porke No asks, what's your opinion about the art style that Fire Emblem has had lately? Do you like it? For example, Engage seems like Genshin Impact, and some people don't like this at all. It does seem like it's definitely appealing to modern sensibilities with very, very high colors, high saturation, out there designs that are definitely reminiscent of like VTubers, obviously because the artist is a VTuber artist, or Genshin Impact, because some characters genuinely look like they came from Genshin. I would hope that if they do echoes or if they do remakes, then they go back to a more traditional Hidari kind of style. For the most part, people felt similarly negatively about Three Houses' art, and then that kind of flipped. The series has gone through like 6 million artists. I don't know what the next one is gonna be, and I don't hate this one. Like, there are appealing designs and cool designs in this game, and we've only seen a little bit of it. People say they want to go back to like Awakening and Fates, but genuinely, I wasn't a huge fan of Kozaki's art. But now that's an old sensibility compared to 10 years after. So if it were up to me, I would say I want the next game to have like classy, a little bit more washed out art style, but it is what it is, man. I care about the writing and the gameplay and the story, and if you got all three of those things, as long as you don't look like Shadow Dragon, you're fine in my book. The Sai Shyster. Thoughts on the history/mythological ties in the series? Do you prefer... Okay, there's like a lot of questions here. I think it's cool. I think it's fine. Do you prefer names being one-to-one matches of and characters/places closely adhering to their namesakes, as seen frequently in the Yggdrasil duology? Or a looser connection, or looser connections with less cohesion, more so like Arcanea games, more of your cup of tea. If they sound cool, then that works. Any favorite names in the series? The 12 Crusader names are pretty cool. They're all cool. Maybe like Broggy's kind of weird. Like the Broggy blade. Broggy's kind of weird. I'm sure it has some significance in some like crazy mythological history tie. It used to be translated as Bloggy, and that was kind of funny, but Broggy I guess sounds good. Also, I've been out of the loop regarding your Smash Ultimate performance. Are you still maining Wii Fit? Nope. I'm doing Byleth now. I've been maining Byleth for quite a bit. Nether Tamer 5032. Can you give any advice on how to start a channel? I want to do one, but struggling to do so. If you're struggling to start, maybe try answering what your goal is. What do you want to make a channel about? Join forums, join Discords, try to make friends, kind of get your traffic that way. But before you even start with that, again, you have to ask, what do you want out of your channel and what kind of stuff do you want to do? And honestly, you just kind of have to start it. It sounds really generic, but you have to start by just making content and then like looking at your own content and then comparing your content to the people you look up to and sort of take cues from the people who you're getting inspired by and try to make your own thing. That's kind of all you can start with. That's how you start, and then hopefully things work out, but it's tough to start a YouTube channel. You got to do it because you love making content. You got to love it because you love like creative scripted projects and you want to show something to your friends or whoever's willing to watch. You can't make a channel because you think you're going to be successful, because it doesn't work out that way most of the time. The Mighty Emperor, how does it feel to have made it this far while only making Fire Emblem content? Congrats on the silver play button. You're kind of climbing an uphill battle with the algorithm or the people who are interested in watching Fire Emblem YouTube videos being smaller than like Zelda or Mario. Even though Fire Emblem is getting more popular, it still always feels more niche to me from a streaming perspective, from a content creation perspective. I feel really proud of myself because like it's hard work. It's hard to do, and you have to like grind really hard, and you have to be very picky and choosy and careful about the content you make. But I'm really proud that I'm able to carve a niche and have the silver play button, because that's just kind of like, it's a validation in like physical form. It is a grind for sure, trying to find interesting things to talk about with the niche series. But I'm very happy with what I've accomplished thus far, and I'm just gonna keep hoping that that the series gets bigger and bigger and that my videos stay great. Thomas Clevenger, what is your favorite Fire Emblem game character for personality or unit? I've answered game and character, but for unit, for stats, that's an interesting question. Renault in Blazing Sword, because he's a mercenary by origin. He turned over a new leaf to become a priest, and his magic is really low, but like his defense and his HP are really high, which I always thought was really cool for them to integrate his background into his stats and him being like a kind of mediocre bishop, but there's a reason for that. I thought that was really interesting. Spider Tamer. Have there ever been moments where you thought of revisiting a previous support science, whether it be to explore new I've thought about this a ton of times. I don't even want to look at my old content, like my old support sciences, because that was before I had people reviewing that was before I had people seriously reviewing my stuff, objective, fact-based people who can like fact-check the things that I say. I was really like raw dogging a lot of what I was doing in the initial support sciences. It took me a super, super long time to understand the difference between being able to read between the lines and headcanoning and fan theorying and like speculating way too much. I'm worried that in my old videos, and I'm definitely sure I did this, is that I tried to read between the lines, because you kind of have to with these support sciences and any character essay literally ever and literacy ever, because they're never going to be like, good writing isn't just going to be like throwing everything in your face. They're going to like ask you to understand what's actually happening, what's actually being said, and for you to infer the proper meaning of what people are saying and doing. But a lot of people, what they fall into is that they will look for things and they will find things, and then they will find things that kind of line up with what they've already concluded with that character. And so their perspective is really biased. It's very skewed towards one interpretation that just isn't really there, but it's there in their head. And I worry that, and I know for a fact, I don't even say I worry, I know for a fact I've done this with a few of my videos where I interpreted things a certain way that worked with my argument, but were either not charitable or not like realistic, or too extrapolating and too speculative, reading between lines that aren't even there. It took me very, very long to do that. So I would probably cringe on my old shit, and I would never go back, because holy fuck, I probably did that dozens and dozens of times. But it's the growing pains of someone who does this kind of stuff. Like, you have to learn how to differentiate between things that you could read between the lines like well, and other things that are just so blatantly not true, that you're speculating way too hard. You're speculating to the point where you have to like preface what you're saying with, this is a fan theory, but. And yeah, it took me a really long time to figure that one out. But I can confidently say, like, nowadays I'm really good at disclaiming that if this is headcanon or fan theory or speculation, because there's no other option, I'll say it. And I've also definitely tried to be more proactive in saying, this is my opinion on what's happening. This isn't actually a fact. Every video that I've done has been by nature like persuasive essays, like persuasive writing where I'm trying to convince you of a point. There have been certain criticisms of my stuff saying that like I treat what I say as fact, I guess, but I'm trying to argue a point. I'm not gonna buffer everything I say with my opinion is, or I think that, or you may not agree with me, but like I'm trying to make a point. So, but when I try to make those kind of points where I'm trying to argue something or persuade the audience with something, I nowadays really want to make sure that it's based in something that makes sense to be interpreted that way. Because otherwise it's just like I'm spouting bullshit. Jacob Jardell. First of all, hope you're safe and holding up okay post-storm. These are all questions from a month ago. I just haven't gotten to them yet. Congrats on the 100K, you definitely deserve it. I'm curious though, who are some YouTubers you enjoy / model in your videos, Fire Emblem or otherwise? My inspirations are I can't really pinpoint one. What I'll sometimes do for video ideas is I'll go to the YouTube Explore page and then I'll look at what's really popular right now, and then I'll look at a channel that had a really popular video on the Explore tab, and then I'll go to their most popular videos, and I want to see things that have been really successful with them that I can try to convert into Fire Emblem. And then I'll watch their video and try to take notes on how they're making their own video and then try to copy it into what I have done. And I've done that several times with really, really popular videos that I've done, or at least like videos that have performed decently well. So that's worked out for me. If there was a video creator that I could say like I definitely got inspiration from, it would be Zeltic, the Zelda theory guy. A lot of his videos, I feel when I was watching them, I could be like, I could do a Fire Emblem version of this. That's just one example. One of my favorite things to do is look at other people's content and then try to see if I can do something that they've done, but in Fire Emblem and in my style. And then I at least know that if this video has done well for his medium and his audience and his like game or whatever, or his topic, then I have a feeling that my audience would react similarly. And that's good. I want that. HD Ninja asks, who do you main in Smash? Byleth. Mito Requiem. What are some features you think every top-tier Fire Emblem game needs? Also, if I may cheat, what sort of theme would you like to see a Fire Emblem game take? Gothic horror, Western, sci-fi, steampunk, the Regan arc of Fire Emblem Heroes. I think that setting would be so sick. I don't know. I want a steampunk. Something like Final Fantasy VI with Terra and Locke. Ancient future tech is really cool to me. I really want to see a game that delves into that mystical, steam-powered technology is sourced in magic because, you know, we're actually progressing as a society in Fire Emblem this time. That'd be really cool. Every top-tier Fire Emblem game needs, if your story's competent, if your characters are well-written, and if your gameplay is fun. Not every game has those three things, okay? Not every game has those three things, but games that do have those three things are really good Fire Emblem games. Skylar M. Was there ever a moment in your first Fire Emblem that made you realize you were going to love the series for life? For me, it was realizing permadeath was a feature. I would probably say just my FE7 experience playing it for the first time. When I was a kid, I must have been I don't even remember how old I was when I played FE7 the first time, because that was back in 2003 and it's 19 years later. Jesus Christ. I must have been 11 or 12. Holy fuck. Probably just all the pretty portraits and animations just got me hooked. Christopher Merrill. If you could change one thing about beast units, the non-Laguz ones, what would they be and why? They need more weapons. One of the most boring things about the beast units is that they're so bland. They have Beast Stone and Beast Stone Plus for the entire game, whereas every other class has like 9 million weapons. They need more than that. I don't know why. It's weird how like FE3 did beast units the best, which sounds really weird. In FE3, I think maybe FE1 had this too, but like in FE3, and probably New Mystery, I guess, Tiki had the Demon Dragonstone, the Ice Dragonstone, the Fire Dragonstone, the Divine Dragonstone. They all did different things, and they all gave Tiki different properties, I'm pretty sure. Even Dragonstones in the recent games are so lame. Myr has a 50-use stone, and that's it for the entire game. Noe has 2 weapons for the entire game. This is a whole ass weapon type. Can you please be more creative? And they're the most boring class. They have one thing to do, and that's all they do for the entire game. It's like, come on, do something else with your class. Jeez. Eric Drell, what creators besides FETube do you subscribe to? Non-Fire Emblem ones? Honestly, there are just a lot of music. Oh, Deep Sea Oddities I'm subscribed to. That's a crazy channel. Oh, Rerez, the Ontario-based game content creators who do Just Bad Games and Just Good Games. I met them because they're in Canada, And I met them at Anime North like 4 years ago. And they're cool. Hope they're doing good. Jwits, because we're friends, we're buddies. More music. LA Beast. A couple of friends who do content in real life. More music. Well, everyone, that will do it for the 100K subscriber special Q&A. Thank you, everyone who asked questions. I really appreciate all your support and all the support that comes in every day to the channel. It really means a lot. This is a really great accomplishment. I look at the silver play button like every day just to know that like it's still there, stuff like that. Like I mentioned in the 100K normal video, I kind of wanted to focus on other like revenue streams, and I haven't really acted upon that because I'm still like in this flux of trying to find a place to live in the city, and it's been actually kind of like been really hard on my mental. It's been really tough to like try to prioritize like streaming and stuff because I don't want to say depressed, but I'm like just really sad that I'm having such a hard time trying to find a place to live in the city because there's so much demand for rent, but there's nowhere to go and everything's really, really expensive. You either get a really bad deal, you get a really bad place, like a kind of a rundown neighborhood or whatever, or you get scammed. That literally feels like those are the only 3 options you have. I apply to places literally every day, but it's just tough. Anyway, gotta keep persevering. And again, thank you everyone for your support. If you want to help me and you want to help the channel, you can support the Patreon. We'd love to have you. It's really fun, really cool place to hang out, and more people are always welcome. So yeah, check it out if you want. And yeah, with that all being said, thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. Hope you liked my answers to your numerous questions. And I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.